Hi everyone, we are going to start with our color pencils and textured or non-textured papers and how to combine them and learn more about color wheels. So in this course, as you can see, we have a paper in front of us and also we are going to learn about which paper is going to be suitable for us. Continuing it, I'm going to tell you more about the brands and the names of the papers later. But as you can see, we are using Faber-Castell, a full set. You don't have to have it. Even though we are using full set, you don't need to have a complete 120 sets. You only need 24 or 36 would do as good. And you can complete all our color pencil courses and lessons, either this with one of them or the other one. Don't worry about the brand as well. Any brand would be good to practice with. So now we are going to show you what other materials you need in this lesson again. You don't need to have to buy them, but you can watch and learn the techniques and decide which one of them you want to obtain later. This would be one piece of paper, one burnishing tool, and one white pencil. Usually we don't use that blender for burnishing purposes, so you really don't need it. And now we are going to learn how to combine the colors together as now you know the materials we are using. So let's look at the color wheel and to explain more about it on the screen we are going to show you how the colors we have and how they should be combined. We have colors that are combined from our three main colors, red, yellow and blue, and from using these three colors we can create more and more wide drawing color layers. So as you can see, red plus yellow will create orange, red plus blue will create purple, and blue plus yellow create yellow. You need to apply minimum pressure, guys, in order to create these and combine them perfectly. So blending two colors require minimum pressure and good layering in order to go through these colors that I'm pointing at right now. So I just mentioned the six colors. By knowing color knowledge, your drawing and speed would be very different and you can create better and more creative artworks in the future and progress through the lessons quicker. So practicing this lesson is essential for everyone, even though it might sound very beginner, but it will help you tremendously. After knowing the main colors and how they mix together, the next step is your hand pressure, and how much pressure and how many colors layer you draw determine your next color. So look at the screen and you will see the colors we're going to use. We are going to use few colors. Start by using the yellowish reddish color. Is kind of a blue. Any blue will do, guys. Again, I don't want you to really limit yourself because of the colors, if that makes sense. We're starting with the first blue layer. Slowly fill up the whole square. Make sure what you do when coloring, they are circle based and you move your hand in a circle way, circular motion. Don't use any force, any pressure at this stage, especially the first layer. You learned this in the previous lesson how we do this stuff because these colors need to match together. Even though any color pencil paper do, but I suggest don't use A4, guys. The texture is not suitable for color pencil and or really cheap papers. You spend a little more, get the right paper. So as you can see, your color won't sit on the paper or blend with a cheaper paper. I have to say I would suggest using a texture paper for this lesson or non-textured ones. And Strathmore Bristol vellum paper, interestingly enough, even though it says vellum, but it's the paper are soft and non-textured. And when the brand says soft for Strathmore, they can be sometimes not soft. So extremely careful, but it is a good brand to start with. Or even Cast Art brands is good. You have all the names on your downloadable resources. You can go through them and get one of those that is suitable for you. So we finished the first layer as you saw. And now you see the yellowish color we are using. After we finish the first layer of the square, we are going to start with a yellow square, same technique next to it, and then when it combines in the middle, you will see the green color comes out. Have the same hand pressure and try practice the squares a lot, maybe with different colors and the main colors you just saw on the screen. My apology for the head because sometimes you really need what you're drawing, so and I want to be precise, so sometimes the head shows. And we continue doing this, going through. So this is blue plus yellow equals green. You can see the green parts getting created. Now just have a moment, make sure your pressure and hand pressure is the same. The color green really is emerging already. Now if you use lighter blue, the green will become lighter as well. So the color tone is important to know as well. So if I use here a darker blue and a darker yellow, the green will become darker as well. It just is normal how this would be. So this green part, these two colors on the side will affect the middle color. Now we are going to do our second try with lighter colors. In this section, we are going to use Faber-Castell Light Cobalt Turquoise and Faber-Castell Light Yellow Glaze here. They are much lighter colors, so you just see how these two can be combined together. Continue the same pencil drawing and pencil pressure just to show any blue and yellow pencil will give you the same effect. So I'm going to let you have a look. Same hand pressure, gonna like finish the first layer. Circular motion, try to cover all, don't leave any part side and take your time while you're doing it. Go around, make sure your outlines being done in a neat way. Don't go out of the lines, that's what I mean. Now with lighter yellow, let's give it a try and see when you're using a lighter blue and lighter yellow, what's the difference? What's how the green's going to be different? It's called light yellow glaze. Any lighter color would do. If you don't have this ones, it's okay. You can just watch and learn. Going to do the same technique, slowly creating the middle part, the green part. Have a look, we are continuing doing it. As you see, the color green is different from previous practice version. Now going to draw a second layer to see the effect. The green is more visible now. The more you combine your color and give layers, the more softer ending color you get. Same pressure. Sometimes with the second layer you can add more pressure actually and go around. Look at the green and compare it with the left one that we just drew. Understanding color wheels is very important when it comes to just your own style in further lessons here in this course. These ones gonna help you really a lot. As you can see, the paper whiteness still there. Add paper graininess, you can add more layers to make the color more pigmented, darker and brighter. So that's why I'm adding more to get rid of some of the white graininess. However, with our style, it means that we don't have to get rid of it that much, just enough that is more towards realistic style. So we are seeing the effect. Going through the rest. You see, the green even became like a well, even though it's darker, but it's brighter. So use the same pencil pressure and circular motion to build the color up. You don't need to use different or white pencils or white pencil. Just with the same pencil, you can blend well. It's your hand pressure is important. We are using more blue since you can see the whiteness of the paper. Use the same hand pressure, go in circular movement. Now you can see the difference between both greens here and the colors we used. You practice and the assignments start here. Any color pencil you have, regardless of the color, try and combine them together like these squares and see the middle color and what colors coming out, and then submit assignments so we can see each other's color creation. The other students can see, and we can comment and go through your practices together. The second practice after your color mix experimental practice is to actually practice the color wheel. So we are going through the rest of the pencils using the middle cadmium red actually, and also combine it with chrome green. Later on, you always get the color's name and the number online on the screen, so don't worry about not hearing it well or you just miss it. The colors, numbers and names always there for you. So going through the 1/3 of the coloring to have a soft layer drawn. Gonna continue, gonna make sure like we have our pencils kind of like sharp, using a little more pressure, circular motion going around, keep adding the layers step by step. Don't rush yourself. Now we are going to add more pressure and keep the same level of pressure. Now even more pressure. So gradually do this please, not at once. Now it's all about following the hand movement and practice at the same time. If you have done this part, you have practiced, and you feel like you're very professional on this part, I suggest you skip and go through more advanced lesson of this course, which would be not in this part but mostly in the latter ones. Now it's almost the ultimate pressure here. Make sure of your outlines. So we're almost done with the first layer. Now after this, when the first layer is finished, we have to go through a complete or full burnishing technique in order not to see any whiteness of the paper. And you can see what is burnishing. Burnishing is when so many layers or colors like been combined and no white graininess will stay on your paper. So you can see the lower part, the end part is just complete red, no whiteness left. With the most pressure, that means burnishing. The lowest part, that's called like ultimate burnishing, because when you do this you cannot add more color onto it, and not more colors won't have an effect on it if you're like using other color pencils. We're we do this because of those paper graininess as I mentioned, and to get rid of them with minimal pressure, we have to know that color pencil requires a little beforehand thinking and analyzing what we want to do in each step, and know that gradually how to work on each part. You can see burnishing just not to burnish at once, but you have to keep layering as well. There are some borders in between because this almost have three colors versions. One lighter, like at the very top you can see the light color, and then the middle part is just a medium red, and the lower one is absolute burnishing technique, the ultimate color red that we could have. Here we can see three different color levels that I just mentioned to you. Different hand pressure we created this. It's very important practice because you will have that on portrait drawings, on a still life drawing, and like everything that you will face in this course, or even when you're practicing on your own. So this is the blender that we are going to use. You have seen in the previous lesson how the blender looks like. Now we are using the next color, the green one, the chrome green. Any green color would do, guys. Again, please don't limit yourself or don't discourage yourself if you don't have all the colors in 120 set. We don't need it. A lot of the colors on a 120 set, I don't even use it, and it's useless actually. So like, how many times I'm going to use the gold or the silver? So we really don't need it. If there is a color 24, like a set 24 or 36 would do. But if you really need a color outside those, you can even purchase them separately, just one by one. So it won't hurt your pocket. So going through the square from more pressure to less pressure, and leave a white highlight at the end to give proportional feeling to it. Practice while watching with any color you prefer. This is a little different from the previous one that we layered. You can see from where we started using pressure is a different angle and direction, and we have actually a white highlight that we didn't have in the previous example. So previous lesson, during those sphere like practices, we had a lot of like where the light's coming from and where the highlight should stay. This is almost the same but in different version with different colors. Now we're going to start the burnishing tool. It's usually better to start from light to dark because they don't mix well together. They don't mix more, and that they should some cases it's needed to blend more than it needs. So always start from the light part and then gradually go to the darker parts. Look at the hand movement, try to not to put too much pressure going through. Keep moving around. The same technique, circular motion, the circular hand movement in a very harmonic way. Please do this. Now we are adding a little more pressure, so layer by layer we do this. Look at the difference between this and few seconds ago, how the color looked like without this part and the lower part. Quite different. It's a little softer. Even though in this one you see different color layers from darker green to lighter green, it's not just in the previous like example with the red color, but even here in different angle and direction we have the same format. Try to leave the white highlight of the paper out. Now in the next step we are going to use a red violet color. Any red, any dark red would do well here as well. In this square, we are going to use another color pencil technique, which would be the white pencil, which would be using pencil, both blending and burnishing technique. White is usually being used for making our colors lighter, making them light and blend them well together. Also, it will take the graininess of the paper, as I mentioned to you a few times. Also, another feature that white pencil has is that we can create wavy feeling on the paper on our drawing subjects. So on this part we are going to a little speed up, so because you have seen it, now let's just watch and follow along. Now since we are going in full speed, we are still using the same technique, so you can see the layers we keep adding and we are careful to go around. It's exactly the same thing we did for the green part. Now we are going to see how whiteness will affect our work. Here you can see the colors fading after that. So let's start like coloring using our white pencil and use the technique the blending and burnishing. Look at the colors changing. Even the colors become paler when white is added. Just it's gonna fade away some of the colors and merge together, and colors get combined, so it has a different feeling. So again, let's look at the screen and repeat after. We're gonna speed a little up because it's the same technique, so let's follow along. The whiteness really gives a very interesting texture, to be honest with you. You have to do this very slowly, even though we have speeded up this one, but yours should be done with more patience. So I hope you have followed so far. If you notice, the colors became milder. You have two kind of different parts. We're almost done with this part, and let's try blending two colors after this with the ones you can see on the screen. Almost the same color tone, a little darker green, a little lighter green. Any other, you can use a lighter blue and darker blue, or red or yellow, anything you want would be fine. We are mixing the two colors right now. One of them is called light green and the other one is called dark phthalo green. Any lighter and darker, as I mentioned, would do, so don't limit yourself. We are drawing another square version and start drawing the same way you have learned so far, steady and harmonious with the same level of pressure. When you choose your colors, when you choose any colors, please, which here we are using green, use the same color and go next to it with much less pressure, like around. You see the middle part has more, and the two like sides parts like less color. Follow the screen and the hand movement, please. Adding more layers slowly and gradually. Now we are going to choose the lighter ones that we showed you previously. It's called light green, combining them to make them look milder and smoother. This is another version, another technique of color pencil, because instead of using like two different colors to blend them, or using burnishing tool like such as white pencil or actually blender, or even put too much pressure on your pencil, you can use two different colors but the same tone. Now you are learning about these two colors and pressure. Look at the combination, how they are mixed, and the tone, the green tone. The result is a lighter green now. After mixing these two colors, we get the next level result. Blending technique here would need more time comparing to the other color techniques. Keeping adding and different layers. Look at the middle part and how they're different. The border lines in between, they should vanish away. You cannot leave an obvious border lines between the three parts. You have to keep blending and layering in order to get rid of those border lines. Keep your pace and move slowly and then mix them perfectly together. We should not see any line created in between, as I mentioned. Now we are using a little darker color. See how it's gonna be. Any darker you have would do. That's why I keep insisting. As you can see, the color should smoothly transitioning into another one. If you see the three pencil lines created here, it means we didn't do a right job if we can see the lines. Either the technique wasn't applied properly and didn't work. Your work wouldn't be considered professional work if you can see a non-good blending. Even in other like careers, we see the same. For instance, if you're doing makeup, in makeup lessons, if the colors they don't blend well on the face, it's exactly the same. So you need to blend perfectly different layers of makeup in order to create a good and professional like result. We need this technique for any color pencil artwork. We rarely have simple and no mixed colors in the nature. Most of the colors are mixed and combined. So in nature, all colors are mixed and it's hard to find pencils that have the color we want. So layering and keep layering is very important. So have a look around as a homework practice and start paying attention to the colors around you, and you will see most of the objects are created from dark, mid-tone and light tone, the highlights. You can see more layers we draw, smoother each layer it gets. So by adding more layer, you get a smoother layer. Using lighter green now. Now we are actually using more towards not just blending but burnishing technique. So let's speed up a little here. So look at the hand pressure. Again, just because we are going faster, you should do this very slowly. So as you saw, like we added very dark colors from both sides, and now we are going combine all the colors for the next technique. Look at the left and the right side and how we have blended all, so it more feels natural currently. The more you combine them, And using more hand movements, the better the blending will look like. We have ultimate like darker color on the left side. So now let's look at different papers and how different they are from each other. We have texture papers underneath as well using now we are going to use another version which is called Daler Roni, this smooth cartridge sketchbook, and let's use our pink pencil on one as cast art and one the Daler Roni I just mentioned. This one is texture, so this one is smooth. Using texture paper are kind of sometimes better for this course and this style we are using, but not necessarily. So don't limit yourself. Any paper you have, if as long as it's not A4, is good. Just make sure you read on the you read what it says before buying, and they should say that it's suitable for color pencil or pencil drawing. Now let's look at the textured one. This one is cast art. You can see more graininess on it. It's so obvious that it has way more. And look at the same, it's the same hand pressure, same hand movement, same color. Look at the difference. So it does make difference the paper that you use. This is very important to see. Sometimes you can see the texture paper is easier accepting the color because it has still whiteness left and it feels livelier when using and creating more unique texture. So the right side, in my opinion, feels livelier, it feels like more fresher, but comparing to the left one, it has a different feeling. Look at the using a yellow pencil and how they gonna looks like. We have to do the same on both. It's obviously it's your style and your decision at the end what paper you use. As long as you follow the course and the recommended materials still, you will get the hang of it, which one is the most suitable for you. We are trying the same color on the smooth paper, and you can see the difference between the left and the right side, which is right side is a texture one. Again, it's a personal decision that after a while you get to the point which one is closer to your style. The two colors are quite different, and I'm really happy you watched until now and you saw the difference between two. We are almost done with this lesson. You learn more about the techniques, and we're almost ready to say goodbye. Just look at the difference between them, how the tones different, and how the texture on this Daleroni and cast art made a difference. I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next lesson, and bye bye.